Hello everyone, this is Alex here with This Was Collide. Today we try to do a tier list. So first of all, at the beginning you will be using everything, but the blue or rare characters will be obsolete very soon, and the elite or purple characters will have some use for the first 1-2 months that you're playing the game, especially the characters I'm showing here. So Huntress, many people say she's a very nice DPS for the starting of the game. I never really needed her, but I take this recommendation in the tier list. Many people are using Black Canary. Black Canary is a very nice healer. He heals your whole team, and there aren't really too many healers on the game. So at the beginning, if you need some healing and you have shards for Black Canary, so because rare and elite characters are way more available, and if you have a Black Canary at 2 or 3 red stars, she can do a lot of healing and be very valuable when your epics are just at yellow stars, at 5 yellow for example, or even less, because you don't have the rare and the elite shards to go with them. After a while, these characters are to fall off. The blue characters are stopping at level 160, and the purple characters stop at level 220. So when you start reaching level 240 and 260, basically these characters become obsolete. So they are not other characters besides the ones I mentioned here, just as a honorable mention, that they can help you in the early game. There are not other characters here in the tier list, even though they can be strong at the beginning when you have more stars than epics on them. They also you cannot put badges on them, and you can only bring them to 3 red stars. So epics start to outshine them a lot, and we have many epics, more than we can use in the game. So then we have a Scarecrow. Scarecrow, if you happen to have a Poison Ivy with a few stars on her, can fit very well with her. And I used to do this for a few months until Scarecrow fell behind and I started reaching levels 260, because Scarecrow puts out more poisons and does some damage, and his ultimate is cheap. And then Poison Ivy can use her ultimate after that and does more damage per stack of poison that a Scarecrow will have put out, both with his passive and with every turn in the first 3 turns, I think, and then with his ultimate. And this can be a strategy, but only until you get level capped and you need to have epic characters. Many people love Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a nice tank. He puts himself in a freeze position when he drops under a certain percentage health, and then I think he gets 75% less damage reduction when he's hit, or you can use his ultimate and he can protect someone like this. The problem is then they cannot take any turns, but they're protected and they will be hit more, and so your DPS in the back row have some breathing room and they can do more damage. Many people love this character. They recommend him as a beginner. You don't have many tanks, so he's definitely the best elite character, and he can be very valuable and can help you with your early game. Supergirl, I don't have her. The people that have her don't use her. She might become relevant when we start seeing more Frostbite characters, because her Renaissance amplifies a Frostbite damage. And a spoiler, Killer Frost used to be in the game on the first iterations, now she's not. And Killer Frost used to be the best character, and she does Frostbite damage. So, and they teased that. They said that they did a small rework for Supergirl, and they said that we will be adding some Frostbite characters in the future. There's also characters that they added the Frostbite tag, like Superman and Green Arrow, and Bizarro has it. So you can definitely make a team if Killer Frost comes here, I can see her being like B or A tier or even higher Supergirl. At the moment, no, nobody's using Supergirl. Same as Green Lantern John. He's okay, he's put some debuffs with his basics. The problem, his ultimate is that it consumes energy and then it hits after 2 rolls that he is most likely dead. He's not terrible. He's a tank. We don't have too many, but he's not great either. And I'm not using him after I got better tanks. Star Sapphire used to be probably the worst epic. They did a small buff on her recently. I don't see anyone using her, but she's at least a D tier because she got the buff and maybe she can do something. Not many people are using her, and I don't think she fits in any team. Then you have the Creature Commando. Those Creature Commandos aren't that great. They do damage to your teammates. They are... Nobody's using Creature Commando. They are the team that is released before, like the Superman team now, and they got a little bit of a buff. Maybe they're not as bad anymore. Dr. Phosphorus can work with Bleed, so maybe we can see some play there. Or not with Bleed, with Burn and Whistle with Bleed. But they're not great. They do damage to their teammates, and yeah, the full team that like all three of them with Bright aren't doing anything basically in the game. They don't have a place now that's important for them. You have Starfire here. There is a league challenge, the first mission basically, that one of the three is with Burn. We have a new Superman being released that does damage with Burn, and so maybe they're at least a D tier because they can maybe be using something like this in some situations. I don't see really play for them, but maybe they will get revamped a little bit. We'll see. Merah here has some nice tags. He can fit in many teams. He has sacrifice, he has debuffs, he has single target damage. So she can activate some Renaissance. She can do some damage, but not many people are using her. People are saying she's used a little bit as a tank. She's like a DPS that's a little bit tanky and can fit in the front row. But yeah, until I see people using her, I'm not investing her. I have lower stars on her, and they're not as easily available as other characters. So why would I invest in her when other people do the same thing she does but better, like Batman, for example? Then you have a Green Lantern Jessica. Yeah, Jessica works with Lex Luthor because she does more damage when your team has shields, and if you time it correctly and you have Lex Luthor using his ultimate and then Jessica using her ultimate, this can be a thing. There is now a section in the League Challenge that it requires shield, and there's other characters with shield that maybe will get some play. So maybe she will get a little bit of play, at least made her at the minimum level, so she has the level 280 that my fifth character has, so I can use her there if I need to. But I haven't really used her too much. There are DPS that are better than her. She's nice. I have used her in Ellsworth and she's not too bad, but she's not like the best, and she's reliant on having a shield, so she does more damage. And other DPS do more damage that aren't reliant on that. That's my understanding of her. Vixen got a small buff recently. She can help fill Blue Beetle spot when on the block team, if you don't have Blue Beetle. This is not too bad. She can also help activate like a bleed Renaissance, especially for like a mighty team if you want to build one for their mode that you need to use all of them. Convergence Crisis, not Convergence Crisis. the other one when it splits the three colors and one is hero and one is villain. I don't remember. I don't recall how the game mode is named, but usually there is a bit tricky to make with epics. Renaissance activated, and she can use with Two-Face and activate the bleed Renaissance. It won't do too much, but this is a little bit flexible. She can be used as a filler spot for Blue Beetle, as for block. So Superboy is basically a little bit higher than, let's say, Starfire, because he is mandatory in a bleed team if you're gonna do at least the league challenge that is required for that. His Renaissance will give more stats, especially if it's high, if he's at higher stars, and if there is a bleed team, a burn team that's gonna work like with a new Superman, he will be part of that because he has the Renaissance for burn. So he's a little bit higher, but not. I mean, no one is really using burn. Poison Ivy, as I said, they can make a great team with a Scarecrow. She can work a little bit with. And it used to be nice because they were both blue characters, like intellect, and you can use them on that. She can also work with Penguin a little bit and activate her Renaissance, but then there aren't enough poison stacks out there, and she used to feel a nice spot because I didn't have many villains at the early game, and so she used to be like my best villain DPS. It's a bit annoying that she only hits the back row, although you can have other DPS than instead of her to use that can hit everyone and do almost similar damage, unless you have like a Scarecrow in there filling a spot, putting out more poisons, and even then you just hit 3 people, not all 5. She can be nice maybe if they release someone that's a poison character. She can get revamped a lot, and like I would hope they would do something like with Joker or something. I don't know, but for now she's not really too much usable. She does decent damage, but she's reliant on other people putting out poisons, and there aren't too many great characters that you can use for that at the moment. Bloodsport, he can be used with a block team at early game. He doesn't do too much damage. He's more like single target. So he's kind of slowly putting out damage. His ultimate just like increases the block chance of everyone, and then uses one of his basic attacks. Yes, he does some damage, but it's not like having a constant in the block team that I have, that hits everyone and clears the buffs, and is putting out buffs on his teammates. So Nightwing can use his ultimate and stun someone because it's reliant on stun. His stun chance is reliant on the buffs he has on him. So he's not. He can have some uses when you have everyone unlocked, but after people have everyone unlocked, they're not really using him. Bane. Some people in the late game are using Bane, and I found it kind of interesting because I wasn't never really excited about Bane. Maybe I'm wrong having him this low on the tier list. My thing is he kind of dies quickly. He cannot get rolling too much. You need to have like healers with him to enable him. I don't know. There are better options in the arena shop to buy shards instead of him. So I'm not really a huge fan of him, but he can be nice, for example, in a Crisis Watch when you need to crowd control people so they get detonated after they spend some turns being silenced or frozen or stunned, and he can put out many stuns on that. So he can have some uses. Maybe he can go to C tier, I don't know. Penguin is a nice character that if you have invested in, he can be very helpful. Like for once, there's a window when he has his shield up where your back row does 10% more damage and gains, I think, 35% damage reduction. This is awesome, and if his match is ever at level 30, he will keep his shield up for the whole match. He kind of gets outshined by stats by other characters, for example, like Bride, even at less stars, if Bride is at less stars than him. But you can slowly buy his shards, he's in the store, Elsewhere store that is not too competitive in shards, you can slowly buy him up. He's my worst tank that I'm using regularly. He sometimes gets subbed out, but I'm using him. I can have him at 3 red. I hope if I bring him to 5 red, if I don't get any better tanks unlocked, he can be better. Yeah, he can potentially, like, if we get a new poison character, they can make a team with Poison Ivy and do some stuff. I like Penguin. You can use him in some situations when you want to do more damage with your back row, like for example with Wonder Woman, just to kill the opponent's back row quickly. So yeah, he's not like he has uses. Robin is kind of the same thing. You kind of need his Renaissance some situations to kill the back row. It's also now that this is part of a league challenge, like one of the 3 that you can select. So you may need it for that. You also need it for an Evil Falls boss. So he's situational. He's kind of needed for some situations to do some stuff. He can help activate Batman's Renaissance, but I don't like using them like this because you're not focused on who you're targeting. You target with Batman the front row, you target with Robin the back row, and no one really gets killed quickly. If you add like Batman and Red Hood, for example, both hitting the front row and just having at least they're killing the same target because you're hitting him twice, and then you have Robin just in the back row, like maybe hitting sometimes, like with his advanced attack, or later on, like using his ultimate. He also can help with Evil Falls where you need bleed. He can be used there. So yeah, he's situational. I don't have him very highly invested, but I will slowly start buying his arts just so he can bring his Renaissance, can bring him to 5 red and activate his Renaissance at the last level. Martian Manhunter, he's not like super impressive. His ultimate doesn't do too much. I think it cleanses and I don't know what it does. It increases the healing that you get, or like it gives you damage reduction, something like this. It's not awesome. It's kind of lame, but he's a legendary. He can be tanky. He can be. When I use him on Ellsworth, I'm not mad at him. He's nice. Then we have Bright, that barely makes into the B tier. Actually like Bright. She revives. She has a very nice health pool. When she revives, the way it plays out, you can many times either heal her or shield her when she gets revived, and she drains a little bit, so she can stay alive for a while after that. She can be nice. I use her on my first team in campaigns with Wonder Woman, Lex, Two-Face, and Zatanna, and she does a nice job absorbing some hits because she has a big health pool, then allowing Lex to put out a shield. Some situations I use her ultimate, it's expensive, but you can do a little bit more damage because everyone is using their basic attacks, and maybe Wonder Woman can drain up a little bit. This is kind of nice. I don't hate Bride, that her team doesn't work, and probably if you're gonna put Sarge on Legendary, there are better Legendaries to put like 8th metal or something like this on them. I pulled her. I had her very close to 8 stars by the event, and I brought her to like 3 red, and I like her. I'm using her often. Then you have Cyborg. Cyborg is nice, but not the best. I don't have him. Not like super experienced with him. I know people say that for what he does, they find better candidates for like the 3 teams that they need to build. So he's not really getting used to too much. He has a nice silence. He can fit with a bleed team somehow. His ultimate can be situationally good to protect, like he can even go in the front row because of that. But I don't know. Yeah. Then we have Pizarro. I don't have Pizarro build. People that have him big like him because he's flexible. He can fit with debuff. He can put like a freeze that can be nice with in the Crisis Watch, the last where the Suicide Squad is that they want to be detonated if you have them frozen for a few turns. He's like a supportive tank that can help heal your main tank. He's not too bad. He people that have him big say that he's very flexible and nice. Gorilla Grodd is a very nice tank. He can be beefy. He can work with a debuff very well. Yeah, and we don't have too many great tanks in the game. He's a bit slow, but we don't have too many great tanks in the game, so he fills a nice spot there. His ultimate can be nice, reducing the turn bar for the back row. Raven is amazing. You can basically need her for the last, the boss for league challenges. So it's very, you get a lot of value from her there. And if you have a Sinestro unlocked, which I don't, then she can basically be the support for the debuff team because you kill the opponents so quickly and you are putting many debuffs out, so you don't really need a healer. And she revives, so if they just kill one of your tanks, she's beef in the back row and revive them. If you don't have Sinestro, you don't do damage and kill the opponents very quickly. This is not working in many situations very nice. It can work like with a Robin in some situations, or especially with Star Sapphire because it does a lot of single target damage and then doesn't do some damage for like 2 rows, two turns. So you basically have a Raven in those situations reviving your tank over and over again. So I use her like 20% of the time maybe in campaigns, but I also use her always in on the last boss for a league challenge, and she fulfills a very important role there that helps you do a way better score. And when I get Sinestro, I know she's gonna be like the main tank, the main support in this team, so I'm gonna build her a bigger. I have her on the list to slowly start farming her shards. She's okay. She can also help with the damage a little bit when she's big. Then you have Green Arrow. Many people love Green Arrow and use them and max him out in the early game a lot. And I have gotten Green Arrow in those situations when he is at when you have like silver stars on him that go after the red. You have the silver stars, and that just gives you a little bit of stats. Then I have taken him as a mercenary from teammates, and yes, he can help a lot and help you, for example, with system recovery when you want to kill someone in the last turns or something like this. He can be nice. You can make like use his Renaissance in some situations. Usually, you want to use Wonder Woman and Constantine on a different team after a while when you start needing 2 or 3 teams. So this doesn't work greatly because then you need to have like Superman and like basically you need to have legendaries, so it's not really helpful too much. He starts kinda being like only a damage dealer, mostly in the late game. He doesn't do like too much other stuff like control or something like this. Like Wonder Woman basically does the same as him, but she puts out stance and silence. Yes, if you activate his Renaissance when he's at 5 red, then your team will also put out silence. And Frostbite is almost like putting it a little slow, I think. So it's not that he only does damage, but he mainly only does he basically does damage. He's not doing too much besides that. He may get revamped for a Frostbite team, but then you will have basically the damage from Killer Frost that you will be relying mostly on, and you don't necessarily need to have him if you have like Bizarro or Superman, but maybe you don't have those. So yeah, Doctor Fate is nice. I have hired him as a mercenary sometimes at 4 red and very high levels. He's nice. He's not awesome. Like if you can Constantine, for example, does more, and he's an epic, so you can find his shards easier. Even Green Arrow can do more damage, and you can gain more shards for him easier. He's not the best legendary, but he also can be a little bit supportive, like putting out a shield. I'm not super familiar with his kit, but he does that when you have him as a mercenary. People that have him don't love him too much, so also one reason that he's kind of there. He's nice, but not the best DPS. Many times you don't use Pandora's Renaissance anyways, so yes, he can help activate that, and you can have Constantine on a different team, for example, block. He's nice, he's not the best. Moving on. Flash, especially in the early game, people say he's awesome, and if you have him in Elseworld, you will notice that. But after a while, people say he falls off a lot, he gets countered. What he does, basically, he goes first and reduces your turn bar of your team. If you have Zatanna's badge at level 30, she will give turn bar to your team before he does that, so she counters him basically. He also does less damage when everyone is built. His damage seems less and less. He doesn't seem like to be a very big damage dealer, so he's kinda falling off in the late game. Everyone's saying I know he's a way worse option than Wonder Woman to select at the beginning, and he's not extremely available anyways. But I like if you have like Flash and Superman, at least those are legendaries that you can farm every month in a Elite Arena store. Otherwise, for other legendaries besides those three that you can get at the beginning, and Legs, it's a lot harder to get their shards. So maybe you can get some play out of your Flash if you happen to pull him, but you have Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is your main legendary. At the same time, yeah, people are not loving him at end game, and they say he's falling off, so he's not getting A-list or something like this. Those two characters above him almost made the A-list for me, because I use them in both arena, in my arena team, both on offense and on defense, and an elite arena team that wins a lot, and I use them in campaign, but Red Hood way less, or on a less important team, or he doesn't do too much on campaign. There's a situation where you can use your Red Hood against like in team ups, because in team ups there are usually only 2 characters, so and there are only 7 turns, so even if he dies, he gets to revive and do 1 more ultimate for free. sometimes use him in system recovery if I want to kill someone quickly, or even like in a Crisis Watch in the last node when I want to have a high score because I kill them taking less turns, and because he gives crit damage and crit chance to Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman does more damage if his Renaissance is active. So yeah, he's an awesome character, but he falls off in a normal campaigns. He also can be used in Evil Falls, and you can use his Renaissance there. So maybe he can make A tier. I don't know. It felt like there too many characters would be on A tier. And as I said, campaigns, he's kind of bad. He dies quickly. You cannot have him in the front row. He doesn't do too much damage if you have him in the back row. His Renaissance only gives more crit damage for the first 3 turns, and in a 15 turn that many times it gets to in campaigns, he's kinda less useful. He can help activate Batman's Renaissance. This is something. And Two-Face is a very nice character. He can also be used in the front row. Usually use him in the back almost exclusively. He's also important in Evil Falls, where you need with bleed against the Old Man, because he puts out a shield and a bleed stop shield counter it. He also gives like drain and more damage to if he's in the back row. So I use him in campaign with Wonder Woman, so I can do more damage with her. He gives damage amplification, so I can do more damage with her and kill the opponent's back row in campaign. He's nice. He's not doing like crazy much in terms of like damage, or he can help a little bit. It's a bit opposite of how you wanted it. I would love him to have him in the back row and putting out silence, but when he's in the back row, he's way more likely to put out just bleed, and when he's in the front row, he's putting out silence. He's okay. He can also be used like as a villain, because we don't have too many villains for this content. Then you have at A tier Hal Jordan. I haven't really used Hal unless in Elseworld. In Elseworld, he's very nice. He does a lot of damage. People like him and have him like on Steam. They would say he's an A tier for that people that have him built. So I'm leaving him there. And moving forward, Superman is very nice. I don't have him, but I've hired him many times for as a mercenary. I have tested him more in Elseworld. He's nice. You can get him by spending a shit ton of money. But there's no way of unlocking him and not just pulling him randomly, even if you select Wonder Woman. He can potentially like work with a burn team in the at least with the League Challenge. He's being used. There are shards of him in the Elite Arena store, so you can farm his shards and have him big. I started buying those even though I don't have him unlocked, because eventually maybe he's a nice tank, and you don't have too many tanks that are great in the game. Then you have Batman. Many people would say even Batman is better because they're using him in the late game a lot in almost all Evil Falls. And he does a lot of single target damage, or something like team ups. He does a lot of single target damage. I even using him like as the main DPS in my third campaign team. He works nicely, and I slowly chip away at them one at a time. With Red Hood the second one. if you have Sinestro, they make an awesome like a debuff team, so he can be used for that. His badge is very nice. They can put out fear if you have it at level 30. He's a strong character, a damage dealer that does put the most like single target damage that in many situations you want to in the late game use him instead of other DPS. So maybe he can even go higher, I don't know. I haven't used him in those situations and don't have like too much invest gear into him, so I can say he's the best DPS for this job, but I'm looking to it and I'm building him up a little bit more, so I can use him in that. Blue Beetle is an awesome legendary that I was lucky to pull, and I brought him now to 8 to 3 red. He's very beefy, considering he's only at 8 red. He's amazing in the block team. He has some stuff to stop crit, so maybe you can win against them like in Elite Arena. This is a team that's being used in Elite Arena and in campaigns, and very effectively. In campaigns so much so that usually I'm putting them on auto even if I'm playing the other two, because they are very, very strong. And yeah, Blue Beetle is an awesome character that is great. He's not like the biggest damage dealer or something like that, but he's very solid if you have a team built with a very big Nightwing and an Ocean Master. Then you have a support and DPS with them. He is also amazing in this team, and they can make an awesome team that can help you with a lot of content. Zatanna helps Wonder Woman shine better, and even other DPS to some degree, she can help them drain, but usually you just use her with Wonder Woman. In many situations, especially in something like system recovery, I use her like also with Constantine, maybe even like a Red Hood, and you have those so you can kill the opponents quickly. Or I might do something similar in like team ups. She's nice. She definitely helps with her drain and helping your teammates do more damage, and 100% Wonder Woman crits. No. Then you have with Zatanna, okay, she doesn't do too much damage on her own. Then you have Pandora. Many people say Pandora, if she's built, she becomes better than Kid Flash. At the moment, I disagree. I have them basically at the same build level, like Bad's level 20, 5 red, and have a little bit more gear investment into Kid Flash. Kid Flash at minimum is more flexible, can fit in any team. Pandora needs to be a bit more specific how you use her. But she basically replaced Kid Flash in my block team and is doing very well in that. I lost a little bit of buffs that Kid Flash puts on them, but still my Nightwing seems to be landing his stance very nicely. And Pandora can also potentially put one buff onto him. Kid Flash is potentially, I think, 2 or 3. That many of those are Nightwing is getting from his badge anyway, so there is not always guaranteed that you have more buffs on him. But Pandora is one of the 2 best healers in the game, along with Kid Flash. Many people say she's better. She definitely does more damage than him. She heals a bit more spread apart, because she hits like 6 or 8 times with her ultimate, and every single time that it hits, it heals the lowest percentage health at this specific moment from your teammates. So maybe first she heals like Blue Beetle, then Nightwing is at lowest, then Blue Beetle again, then Constantine. So 6, then Ocean Master. So basically she heals your whole team a little bit, chip away, instead of Kid Flash doing one very big heal to one person at a time. So this can be helpful. She doesn't heal herself too much. So I know with Bugs level 30 she also drains using her ultimate, so this can even heal her. Like Constantine, like she has sacrifices health but drains more, like Constantine ultimate does already. She also puts a shield out that can be very nice to help her survive even if she sacrifices herself and stays very low. Also with Constantine, she will be getting some regenerations and healing up a little bit. So this can help this going. Maybe you can have like the reinforcement, the mirror that can heal you in the back row, and you don't use, I use them like this in Elite Arena and it's nice. They're very, very strong in Elite Arena, and this is part of this team. And this frees up Kid Flash to go to my third campaign team and use his Renaissance and heal everyone back up and help basically with his healing carry a team that's not great in many situations to clear the opponents, the worst team of the 3 campaigns. Then you have Ocean Master. Ocean Master, if you build a team around him, he's awesome. Originally, I was thinking, okay, well, his ultimate is boring. It just puts like a weaken out that only reduces 8% of the damage the opponents do. But I didn't take too much into account the counterattacks that he does that put out of weaken. So if you have him using his ultimate usually in the fourth turn that I have him, then the opponents have many weaken on them. Someone like Blue Beetle can put a few weaken more onto them, and then and they can block like Blue Beetle and Nightwing like crazy, and then he's going to put out a lot of blitz on all the opponents, so this can do a decent damage if you use it later in the game. He's very strong with both in Elite Arena and in campaigns. He's very, very nice. I'm very close to bringing him to 5 red. Then his Renaissance will be doing 1% healing when an ally blocks. So this, I think, will raise his stocks even more. I kind of have this in mind, bringing him here in the tier list above other characters that are very valuable right now for me. And you can also use him in the front row in some situations with a Nightwing, even like in the current campaign with Superman in the boss where you fight him basically with a new Superman to lock him. I have him in the front row with Nightwing, and I've made my high score like that. Because he's tanky, he blocks, he has some survivability. He can be nice. If you don't have Blue Beetle, one other solution would be to have him in the front row with Nightwing and have other characters in the back row to do stuff. Kid Flash is an awesome healer that, as I said, in my third team many times carries them just by healing them. He has been super helpful thus far in the game in many situations. Even in my first team, many times I need healing and I throw Kid Flash in there and he helps a lot. He helps many times in season recovery. I have him one of the first characters that I'm gonna level up as the main character that I'm putting levels to him. He's awesome, he heals a lot, and this can help a lot in the game, especially you don't have too much availability on Pandora, and even if you have Pandora, with needing 3 teams, you need a second healer at least. That's great, and Kid Flash is the guy for that. He's also available, some of his arts in the Elite store, which are nice. It's 10 per month. It's not like it will bring you to 5 reds very quickly. You may want to target him a little bit as an epic every week that has 30% chance of pulling him. Yeah, I very much love my Kid Flash. He's one of my best characters, and yeah, as I said, he's one of the 5 characters I'm gonna bring to its level, maybe 4th, usually. He's the 4th character that I'm gonna level up. Then you have Deathstroke. I'm gonna be honest, I have my Deathstroke at 2 red, at 7 stars. I mainly use him on the Evil Falls with Allman, and yes, he helps there a lot. Sometimes I use him in the 3rd team as a campaign to do single target damage against a team that does some shields, so he can also put Blitz on them and makes their shields less effective. But at 7 stars, at 2 red, he isn't really the guy that does too much. I know many people would say he's one of the best characters and have him at S tier. At the very late game, I'm imagining they have him a lot bigger. He's the next character that I want to bring to 8. The next legendary that I'm gonna use 8 metal on. I have 26, I think, out of the 60 that I will need. And after 20 days, you can also buy 20 shards from the Elite Arena store. So I will buy those maximum in 20 days. I will have him there. Then we will see at 8 stars if he magically becomes better. He will definitely can put artifacts on him that can make him a lot stronger. But Blue Beetle at 7 at 2 red was awesome. Was great. Very rarely he was the limiting factor in the team. Sometimes he would get killed if if you had like a combination of like Batman and Red Hood, and like Batman was hitting him a lot, but now 3 red he doesn't die there anymore. He holds his ground better, especially having an artifact on him. I'm expecting a Deathstroke to become a lot better because many people say so when he's bigger, even at 8 red. I know he's basically mandatory to get through Owlman in Evil Falls, and I hope he carries the damage of not having Sinestro in my 3rd team, because now he's also very squishy and very easy to die, and he's not necessarily doing too much better than Batman. I know, like, if there are similar stars, yes, Deathstroke can even do like single targets more damage, and also he hits a little bit of adjacent, like so he hits some other people, so, and does bleed damage. He can be nice. I can see the potential to some degree. I'm not using him too much at 7 red that many free to play might have him, so this is a little caveat, but I'm fully expecting him to do better. I know people have him at S tier at the very late game, so I would say he's an S tier. So maybe we'll see. I might update this when I have him at 8 red, at 3 red. Then you have Constantine. I almost made Constantine S tier. I love Constantine. He carries the damage from my block team, but it's a multifaceted team that does many things. And yes, Constantine does a lot of damage, and even helps with his regenerations, even like Nightwing to help him land stands. He does a lot of damage. I use him like as a second damage dealer if I want to kill someone quickly many times, like in team ups and in system recovery when there's some turns. So Wonder Woman does her ultimate more, and then the second person that does it would be Constantine, and you have Zatanna giving them Frantic. He's a very strong character. I'm bringing him to bats 25 now. I have him 22, I think, or 23. So he also gains the damage amplification. I think he gains, and I know he 100% he gains a crit damage. So this can be helpful. Yeah, I love Constantine. He's an amazing character. I was worried originally to build him because he sacrifices his teammates' health. He reduces like 15% of the current health, I think, at the start of a turn. That can be annoying, especially if the opponents have many levels on you. They might kill you before he gets to heal them back up, or they get to drain with Zatanna, or be healed up by Constantine's regeneration that he puts on. So he definitely is a little bit of a double-edged sword and does some negative things. Or for example, he puts like a weekend on the person on your team that has the least damage and puts a strong attack on everyone else, I think. He does more than he harms his teammates, and he does crazy damage by his show. And also his ultimate clearing buffs is a very nice extra on top of that. Then you have Sinestro. Sinestro is an S tier. He carries basically the debuff team. He has a Renaissance for that. Every week I hire him as a mercenary because he helps me push campaigns more. He makes his team work a lot better. He's the leader basically of them. Even can make them an Elite Arena team that wins because I have my third team basically in Elite Arena very rarely wins because I have one crit, one block that win and one team that doesn't. Sinestro can change that a little bit. If he's used in Elite Arena, he's used in campaigns always, and I see many people using him like the way I'm using Constantine, like as a second very big damage dealer with Wonder Woman and Zatanna for every situation I mentioned, like team ups, system recovery, and some evil falls. I know definitely he can. He is a character that's an S tier, and I really want to unlock him. And I hope I unlock him by the league orb that they added. I know I was farming the banner that you spend 500 diamonds every time, and I reached it to 150, and I got a duplicate for Lex. I was hoping I would get a Sinestro, but it's very expensive to do that and it takes many months as a free to play. Nightwing is an awesome character. He's an S tier, he's one of the best characters. Many times used to be the second character I leveled up after Wonder Woman. Now it's Constantine, the one I do, because he's damage dealer and he's very important. But he's a very beefy tank that with having like a Ocean Master with him make a great team, even without Blue Beetle, but especially with Blue Beetle in there, they do stuff. He can be like as plug and play just to have a beefy tank. You can use him in every team. I use him many times. Like if you want to have to absorb attacks in like as I said, with Superman, I have him there because he will hit the Superman boss. He will be hit the hardest before dying, or in system recovery. Many times I use him there, or in team ups many times because the opponents tend to hit many times. They just hit one person, both of them, and so you have a Nightwing there. He's the best tank that can absorb many hits. Lex is more of a supporting tank that can shield and can do and call assists. So he works amazingly with Wonder Woman because calling assists for her, for one, does more damage. For second, she has she drains because being with Zatanna and having Frantic on her make her drain, and it's very important. I use him in campaign always with her. I use him in arena, in Elite Arena. I know he got a nerf recently, but his shards are also available in the arena store. So I think he's a character pretty much that beginners need to use his fusion very early. That's why I have him here. He's definitely recommended to build. I don't know if he's like revolutionary in the sense that you throw him a team alone and he can carry them. Like Wonder Woman does crazy damage. Nightwing can absorb a lot of damage. But Lex is an awesome character. He has his renaissance that can make him a lot of plug and play and used in many teams. Especially with Wonder Woman, it would be difficult otherwise. Many times to have a renaissance active. So I use him everywhere. He's very nice. He can also help in arena defensively with putting out a shield, and his shield is very cheap in the first turns. I know he got a nerf. Maybe he can go slowly lower in the list, but I still love him and definitely recommended for a beginner to do his to fuse the characters for him as soon as possible. And Wonder Woman is the best character in the game. She's the best everywhere, basically. Yes, she can get assigned as set by Batman as a single target damage. She gets countered a little bit by Blue Beetle and they block, but she's still like a great solo character that doesn't really need too much of a team around her. Yes, Zatanna usually is a staple with her, but she can work without like in like the mighty convert. I don't remember how they call it. Are they called Vengeance Crisis or basically in the mighty campaign? She does all the damage. She carries everything. She's awesome. She carries my first team in campaign. She carries my team in arena. She carries the team in elite arena that almost always wins. Even punching up. She's awesome. I love her. People need to have her as their first legendary 100%. And yeah,